Cha. I respect you. That's why you fail.
And then one more show. Take it. That's yes. Let's leave it by yes.
I was quoting Sega on the Loose the other day, and no one knew what I was talking about.
Really?
I felt very old and sad.
That's interesting, because I would think that, nobody could stop you at that point.
Tonight?
Because that night, at least, you'd be on the loose. No one can tell you how either.
Apparently, I was the only one on the loose.
That's so terrible. Yeah, around the house here, because my special lady friend is about 9 years younger than I am. I think half the time she doesn't even know when I'm quoting songs.
She just thinks you're just making stuff up.
Yeah, it's just like that's a really weird way to say that, Ken. Tom Merritt's with us, everybody. Tom Merritt. I'm so sorry, by the way. That's one of those things that makes you. Well, I get that on a daily basis, like I say, where I say something, I just get a blank stare back, and it's like, okay, that's right. You're young, or I'm old. We can say it however we want to. I don't know. Hey, so yesterday we were talking about what was news to Tom Merritt. What was news to Tom Merritt was the fact that there's a semiconductor shortage, or a chip shortage. Mm-hmm. Especially for some of the high-end iPhones. And I had an idea when we were talking yesterday. Apple should just bust open all the iPhone 12 minis it made and pull the chips out of that. Because I don't know if you've heard, Tom, that thing sucks.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it would be good to know exactly which chip the shortage is. Because hey, if it's the same chip, I mean, it might not be, but if it is,
exactly.
You're not selling those.
And we all know that the iPhone 12 mini is a dismal failure. It's been out for like a month and a half, 2 months now, and it turns out they didn't sell as many of those as they did some other phones. So it's obviously just awful. Yeah.
Collected dust in a warehouse like the Ark of the Covenant.
Exactly. They buried it in the pit next to all those E.T. games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Someday someone will do a documentary about the iPhone 12 minis and the horrible failure they were.
They might, although where will they watch it? Because there will be no Apple TV Plus at that point, because I don't know if you know, that also sucks. It's a terrible failure. The guy from Netflix said so.
Man.
Yeah.
Both of these are going to go down as the huge failures they are next to the Apple Watch and the iPad and the iPhone, all of which, of course, out of the gate were also horrible failures.
Yeah, no doubt. The one from Netflix is the one that really gets to me. And if you haven't picked up on the theme, we're talking about things that have very lately been deemed failures. And we might even throw in what Intel is saying about the PC at this point too. That's
we've got the. They're going to bring John Hodgman over to their side soon. Yeah,
maybe that'd be great. And like an old bedraggled Justin Long imitator. Maybe get what's French Saunders? Is that his name? No, French and Saunders were the pair. Who is it? You know who I'm talking about? The guy who was on 30 Rock.
Yes.
No, not 30 Rock. Third Rock from the Sun. Whatever.
See, I thought you meant 30 Rock. Okay.
No. Yeah. This has all gotten so deep now that I can't even get us back out of it. There are a number of people.
Sorry. I just thought we were making 90s references now.
Yeah, that's all right. Wow. I almost want to start over, but I don't, because I think we can pull this out. Yeah, yes, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So we can really quickly go over why I'm saying these things are failures, and then we can argue about whether or not they are. The guy from Netflix, and I actually talked about this last week on macOS Ken. The guy from Netflix is a co-founder of Netflix who says that Apple is they really need to spend real money. They need to jump in with both feet. And the point that I made on macOS Ken was, this is a guy who was a co-founder of Netflix, which was always video, right? Whether it was DVDs or streaming, it's always video. And so he's looking at that and saying, man, if they want to win at this video thing, they got to hurry up. And of course, there's no reason that Apple has to hurry up, because they're making money hand over tea kettle, if you will pardon me. Mixing those metaphors there. The iPhone 12 mini thing was a Counterpoint Research, I think it was, said last week that the iPhone mini only made up about 5% of the iPhone 12 line sales for the first 2 weeks of January, which, by the way, we've already done all of our Christmas shopping at that point as well. And, some people have just said, is making up a smaller percentage. But there were other headlines like, proven to be abject failure. And I believe one of them, I think it was Cult of Mac, said, iPhone 12 mini has proved there should never be another mini iPhone again. and what got to me was, you got to figure that Apple knew like that they were going to sell some of those, but it wasn't going to be the iPhone. And witness the fact they made 4 models of iPhone. I mean, they knew that there wasn't going to be one that was going to be for everyone. Please talk to me about the abject failure that continues to be Apple.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out which startup that Mark Randolph needs to get attention to, because the not working for Netflix co-founder saying something bad about a thing that isn't Netflix but competing with it is built for headlines, right?
Yeah.
But also not coming from a place of experience, because he hasn't worked at Netflix since looking here, it seems like 1999 is when he seated the CEO post to Reed Hastings.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't streaming anything then.
Yeah. So I'm not really too fussed on Mark Randolph's opinion of Apple TV Plus. Also, even if I gave him a little more credit, he's probably a super smart guy. Let's forget about, where his position is in the industry. He's a tech entrepreneur. Okay. He's got a valid perspective. It's like someone looking at someone playing a game and you're saying like, man, that's the most horrible American football I've ever seen. Like they don't even pick up the ball and throw. How are you going to gain any yards? And Apple's over there like, we're playing soccer. All right. Like it's not even the same game, because that's what's going on here. Apple TV Plus isn't trying to be Netflix. It's not trying to be as big as Disney Plus. Apple TV Plus is an entirely different thing. Right now, it's a way to sell some devices, but also get people into an ecosystem. And they don't care whether they come for Apple TV Plus or Apple Fitness or iCloud storage or Apple Arcade. What they're doing is bring people into this tent, grow that overall tent, and expose them to the other parts of the tent as those other parts get bigger and bigger. That's an entirely different thing than Netflix, which is we make video. We make a service that does video. And that's it. That's all they do.
When you hear people talk about what Apple TV Plus needs to do, it's obvious that what they're talking about is what they want Apple TV Plus to do. Or maybe they're talking about the thing that would make them spend the $5, right? Because I think they're like somewhere between 50 and 75 titles on Apple TV Plus at this point. I would understand why people might not want to spend the $5 for that, but that's okay, because they're going to keep adding, and eventually that might be worth $5 to you. Yeah. And if it never is, that still doesn't make it a failure. Who was it? Was it Discovery? I believe it was Discovery that launched an over-the-top service recently. And it's like, why? Plus. Like, my whole thing is, why? Who wants that? Who cares? One of the reasons I got rid of cable was because those were 5 channels that I was never watching and yet still being charged for. Well, but there are probably people signing up for it, and that's fine. It's just not for me. That doesn't mean it, it's wrong or bad or needs to go under or anything like that.
Yeah. The idea of Discovery Plus is, we don't want to get $2 from every person, whether they like our channel or not. We want to get $5 from every person who does like our channel. It's a more valuable relationship anyway. And that's the nice thing about cord cutting. You don't have to get Discovery if you're not into it. And if you are, now you don't have to pay for everything else just to get it. So I think that's a good thing. Apple TV Plus, on the other hand, is not competing with these streaming services. And I think that's a mistake a lot of analysts make, is comparing it to the existing streaming services directly, which can be useful, but they're not doing it for the same game. Apple wants to sell Apple One subscriptions, and as much as Apple TV Plus will eventually help that, they will do things on Apple TV Plus, but they're not trying to bring everybody into the Apple TV Plus tent as fast as possible, the way HBO Max and Disney Plus and all those others are.
Well, and it's easy for HBO Max and Disney Plus because, they do have the legacy content. Right. That's the thing. If if Disney wasn't delivering all the Marvel stuff that they're delivering and all the Star Wars stuff that they're delivering, it still came in at a price that I probably would have gone ahead and gotten it because, I like the legacy Disney stuff and I do like the MCU stuff as well. All right. So since we pretty much established that these are not failures, but we got a couple minutes left, let's game out a couple of things on Apple TV Plus, because there's one debate that I got in with somebody last week. I can't remember off the top of my head who. I think it might have been Dave Hamilton over at the Mac Observer. His feeling is, and if it was Dave, and if it wasn't Dave, I apologize, I'm not maligning. His feeling is that we would have gotten to November of last year and Apple would have said, yeah, we're just going to keep giving this away for free for a while. And that's without the pandemic. My argument is they would have gone ahead and started charging the $5 last November if we had actually been rolling back into season 2 of Dickinson and season 2 of For All Mankind and season 2 of all the initial shows. But because we came up, and then of course there were supposed to be things like Shantaram was supposed to be out, which was one of the first productions actually to get nixed because somebody was sick. I don't even think we called it COVID-19 at the time, but somebody had gotten coronavirus, and so that shut down. We have no idea how many shows we were supposed to have by November of this past year, but coming up on November, when it's like we can't even give you season 2 of the morning show, that's when they started kicking it down the road. I mean, play that out a tiny bit. Is this a thing that Apple's going to end up just giving away for free? What now has to be the point where they go ahead and say, all right, well, okay, we kept giving it to you for free, but it's $4.99. It's $4.99. Come on, pay in. Or I mean, what's your thought on that?
It's part of Apple One. I mean, that really is their play. Is like, if you really want it, you're going to pay $4.99 because you want to watch Ted Lasso or you want to watch whatever the thing is.
Right.
But what they're more excited about is getting that Apple TV Plus person to then go, but man, if I just pay a few bucks extra, I can get Apple Fitness. And getting the Apple Fitness person to say, man, if I just pay a couple bucks extra, I also get Arcade and Apple TV Plus, right?
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that Apple has a spreadsheet. They don't have a spreadsheet. They probably have a whole like Apple-y thing that's like super fancy, and I would never even conceive of it. But they have something like that where they say, once we are getting this rate of acceptance on these 12 products, then we can change the free trial to be X. The pandemic absolutely had an effect on that. Whether if we didn't have the pandemic, they would have done it in November or not, I think it depends on those numbers. And pandemic affected those numbers, the number of people in the tent, the number of shows that they have coming in, all of that stuff. So it's to my way of thinking, it's probably not a yes or no. Oh, without the pandemic, we would have, or with it, we wouldn't have. It's just a matter of whether they're seeing the plan play out the way they need it to play out. And they're like, oh, looks like if we move this lever of extending the free trial, then we'll probably get to where we want in April. So do that.